Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Praise, we start with a dua, inshallah. Praise and glory belongs to Allah, the eternal absolute, who created all things, who created everything in pairs. Glory be to Allah, who is the all-seeing, the all-wise, the all-knowing. He is the all-knowing, but his knowing is through himself, his essence, not through somebody else's mind or somebody else's brain. He sees, or it sees, not through eyes, but through its own essence. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala indeed hears, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears through his own being, his own essence, its own self. When I say huwa or he, I do not mean, when I say huwa or he, I do not mean literally as a man. But what I mean, huwa, is that thing which points to something and says of it as a it, but describes it in the form of all-powerful or might. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent his messenger with the truth, with the way of life that is best for all humanity. Those who accept it, and those who do not accept it, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge them on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, the day of rising, the day of resurrection, in its final matter and form. I would like to talk to you today real quick about the title of Surah al-Kafirun. Because many of us, when we see this deen, al-Haq, we read things through a small lens. A lot of us don't understand that, and actually indeed, every surah of the Quran that's in there is, if you look at the titles of those surahs, that is the main theme of the surah. Surah al-Kafirun, if you want to find real quick about the disbelievers, you read Surah al-Kafirun, Surah of the disbelievers. You know, and you want to find out about the believers, you read Surah al-Mu'mineen. If you want to read about the individual believer, you read Surah al-Mu'min. If you want to read about whatever you want to read about, you open up that surah with that name, and it'll give you the general, I'm saying this lightly, the general understanding of that concept, which more in depth in other places of the Quran, it would touch more upon, or I should say the other places of the Quran will connect into that surah to give you more detail as it builds up more and more and more throughout the Quran on that subject. The reason why I chose this title, and by the way, this is your brother Mufassal Mujadid Al-Hama. I am glad to be speaking here today on this is rainy, and I wanted to talk to you guys today about Surah al-Kafirun, because many of us have this concept in Islam that we're not supposed to associate with disbelievers. We're not supposed to, take them as a friend and things of this nature. And I want to put things in context, but this would just be part one. Or I should say, for you, this might be actually part three. Surah al-Kafirun, if we look at it, we see where it talks, it says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. We see it says, basically, to sum it up, O you that disbelieve, I do not believe that which you believe, nor will you believe that which I believe. Nor do I want to believe that which you believe, nor do you want to believe that which I believe. To you be your way, to me be mine. And so when we look at this surah, this is the entirety of all the concepts of the Quran where it's talking about, kufar, the disbelievers, those who reject. Now, what is a kufar? How did the word come into being? Let's look at that. See, a kafir at one point in time it stems from a word where a person would take a seed, and it would take this seed and plant it into the earth and cover it up. So this word eventually was used basically to describe an action of somebody whenever they saw something that was obvious and they wanted to cover it up, or they wanted to hide themselves away from it, want to hide their mind away from it, then this would be saying you are kuf, you are rejecting it. In the same instance, if a person had some type of headgear, a man usually, and he put it on top of his head, they would say he kufr, he's hiding something, right? So you can do actions of kuf, and you can do this thing. Now in this sense, this is referring to the way of the disbelief, the way of those who would want to reject the message that was being brung to them. And so what we see here is that was the context of this surah that was revealed. The issue that I want to get with, however, is that this actually is not, a person is freely to do this in either or manner. Now I know some people talk about, well, if a person becomes a Muslim and then he turns away from being a Muslim, you execute him or you kill him. According to the study that I've looked at so far, and the context of the Quranic verses that speak about this, and other verses in the Quran, it never really says that you kill the person who rejects the faith. Because if we understand this still, if he was a Muslim and then he stopped being a Muslim, this person would then still become what? A kafir. And if we look in Surah Al-Kafirun, what does it say generally? Hey, to you be your way and to me be mine. Now that doesn't sound like it's saying, hey, if you don't become my way, if you don't stay my way, I'm going to kill you. Of course, some people, they read some ahadith and they say, well, no, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said, you killed the disbeliever who left his deen. Other people, there are other hadiths that allude, that says that actually it wasn't for kuf that these people were killed. Yes, they may have left the deen, but at that time, it was that they sided with those who were attacking Islam. And so therefore, by their leaving the Islam and then plus joining an enemy who was oppressing the Muslims, who had made a pact that, hey, if we catch any of these Muslims, if we catch any of our tribal members of our family believing in this, we'll kill them. So essentially, when you left Islam and you went back to your family or your tribe and you did not send a guarantee of peace, then that was saying that you signed up and volunteered to help to kill the Muslims. You see how that goes? So this is just a thought I want to put out there. And I would like for you to go do more investigation, for you to go do more research and see if that understanding lines up and matches, possibly with many hadith. Now, if out here you are, let's say to speak, Ahlul Sunnah, search through Ahlul Sunnah. If you are following the Shia, then you go look at the hadith of the Ahlul Bayt and bring it back, and then we'll see if we can actually see this type of understanding, because the Prophet ﷺ made something very clear. The Prophet ﷺ said many false hadith will come in his name, and that you are to check it with the Book of Allah, and if it doesn't agree with the Book of Allah, then he never said it. So we have to also, when we go back and look at these ahadith, we have to make sure that these ahadith lines up with the concept of what the Quran is saying. Does it line up? Is it going against the Quran? Is this hadith going against it? Or is it go along with it? So that is a general thing that I want to talk about today as far as the Surah Al-Kafirun. Of course, there's other ayats inside the Quran that, could be recited. I didn't bring a lot of my material like a recite from and things of that nature. So I came here to speak to you off the top of the head with what is inside my heart. I believe this is a subject that I was requested to talk about in a brief manner, and because somebody has some type of questions or interest about this. So at the end of the day, when we got the other speakers or anything like that, then we can indeed, you can ask me some questions, and if anybody's concerned about the Al-Ummah, I will indeed talk to them about that. And if somebody wants to know about the Qasambu and the linking between the two, we can indeed talk about that, because definitely black liberation is a must. Black power is a must, and black independence, it is black power, by the way. For people that have a problem with that, I noticed what I would advise is that some of you go back and go learn who was the person that came up with the term black power. I'll point you in one direction. I say Stokely Carmichael, and later on he changed his name. But and what is his definition of why he said what he said? Okay, but it's not what you think. Like my race, hurts other people. Based on the fact that I'm just black. Really, it's talking about the economics together and your politics together and your social together, and you do, a nation building. Okay, because it's nation time. And even El Hajj Malik Al-Shabazz, when may Allah be pleased with him, when he died, before he died, he had had this concept still, even when he went into traditional Islam and following the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So, in the same concept, that similar concept that our brother had, Malcolm Latif Shabazz, and he even regardless if some of you agree with some of that ideology of the Nation Islam or NOI, anything like that, they had the concept too of a nation, a black nation, so to speak. So it's relevant today, very much so. If anybody has questions, and later on we can have the question sessions, and I would more than happy be able to answer any type of question that's brought forth to me. Till then, I'm going to go ahead and hand this over. I don't want to be long with it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Black liberation, black independence.